Before we start the video, I want to introduce you guys to my new cat. His name is Stirfry, and he's 4 years old. You might hear him meowing in the background, but isn't he adorable? For every one like this video gets, I'll give him one treat. Go ahead and run up those numbers for the little baby. You suckers. There was no cat. I was lying to you. This is a random YouTube video I found, but you already clicked the like button and it's too late to take it back. Unless you dislike it, which is essentially removing your like, but don't do that. Don't do that. That would be cruel to Stirfry. Hello mutuals, and welcome back to this video right now. Today I want to talk to you about bait online, e-trickery, data deception, opposite of truth online, world wide web of lies. Writing is hard. You all know that my job here is to relay stories and events to you and then offer up my own interpretation as a lens. And it sounds simple enough to do, but it does require all of the information I'm telling you to be accurate, and that is not always the case. In a part of my last video, I touched on a lengthy and nonsensical wizard threat someone sent to a trans person. I was commenting on how vile and pathetic I found it to be, and I included it as evidence supporting my overall point. But in doing this, I goofed up. There were a lot of comments saying, Duncan, that is a notorious copy pasta that transphobes use. They just altered this one to be wizard themed. It was bait and you fell for it. And I was embarrassed. I didn't know that it was a well-known thing. It was a trap and I fell for it. And now it's trapped in my video forever. But an hour later I go, hold up. If the original copy pasta was meant to be an insult, and then this modified version is still an insult, bait or not, isn't it still what it intended to be? And then that got me thinking about all the other types of internet bait and the people who fall for it and whether or not those consequences really matter. And the ones that are usually the heavy hitters are the recycled content, the provocative posts, the good old-fashioned clickbait, and even some of the unintentional ones. And I'm going to talk about it because my brain's broken. The recycled content is pretty tame on the bait scale. It's essentially just someone reposting an image or a joke that came from someplace else. It's not exactly plagiarism because the reposter usually never implies it's theirs, but all of the attention that post will gather now goes to the reposter instead of the original poster. I hate saying poster. Look at this. Some guy was playing music outside and it attracted a bunch of kittens to listen to him. It's an adorable image. And I remember seeing it on Tumblr when I was 14. That is nowhere close to being a new story, but because it was reposted this year, people don't know if it's modern or not. And I have no idea who posted the original because that's lost to time, but all of this attention and engagement is going to this new guy. Elon Musk is basically only using Twitter to do this now. He's always reposting bland, old memes and then never crediting where he found them and just harvesting in all those likes. And sure, it's participating in this weird subculture of stealing memes, but I just think it's sadder when a CEO does it. So the recycled posts are bait in the sense that they are drawing in engagement to a post that you didn't create yourself. Overall, that's pretty harmless. It's not really a big deal. But what is a big deal are the provocative posts, because those usually end up in fighting. And this is just when someone is deliberately provoking an audience in order to draw in more attention. It's the all press is good press way of being a dick. Brand accounts love this because every time they post something mildly unprofessional, the replies are always half people being like, whoa, that's edgy, and then the other half being like, you're a burger restaurant, don't say that. Celebrities do this all of the time. For example, here's a haunted cosmetology brush saying something offensive.
I'm not into all the other bullshit. I think
What other bullshit?
the they and them.
Yeah.
And all that extra shit that we added during the pandemic because everyone was so bored on their fucking houses.
And then after a day of that becoming a conversation and drawing in attention, they double down on it.
You know what I'm not going to do? Back down from my opinion, from science, from facts.
Essentially just stoking the flames of burning makeup. You'll also see some posts that will just say something objectively opinionated in the hopes that people are going to argue with them in the replies, and they usually do. I do love this one, actresses with 0 haters, because that's already getting a rise out of the people going, 0? What about me? And then by then it's too late. It goes on to show some well-known performers, all of them very talented, but also all of them with some kind of backlash against them. In terms of bait, it's a gold mine. Sure enough, someone in the replies points out the arguing and the OP responds with this, which isn't a verbal admission of guilt, but I think we can read between the lines here. Oh, he's a video of a kid saving his mom from falling. Look at him go pick up the ladder. Oh. And he's holding it still for her. Oh, that's really cute. I like that. Pop quiz. Is this video staged or authentic? The answer is it doesn't matter, because everyone's arguing about it in the comments and driving a bunch of engagement to the post. Doesn't even matter if it's real or not. Maybe if this kid was an actor with 0 haters, this wouldn't be an issue. But here we are. And on the topic of videos, we get to clickbait. We're going to be hitting a little close to home here. And I'm not talking about having a slightly over-exaggerated image. That's fair. There's nothing being done there. I'm more talking about the images that are showing people a completely fabricated shot taking extreme artistic liberties. And I totally get why some people do this, because a wild design is going to draw in a lot of attention, and you want your video to stand out and people to see it. But then you get into the algorithmic advantages of a certain color scheme or thumbnail layout, and it starts to become a little dubious about whether you're authentically showing what's in the video. In terms of severity, this is another one that's really not the worst thing ever. I think most people generally know that you're not going to see this exact shot in the video and that thumbnails are like book covers, usually to really dumb books. But it still exists as bait because it's drawing in people with the hopes of boosting your engagement. This one is my favorite because it is just unfortunate. This one is kind of a cousin to the provocative posts, but this time there's a misunderstanding here, and there's a joke that someone's not getting. You see this a lot with gimmick accounts that are trying to curate a specific type of post because they want to include everything, and some of the ones they include are just very clearly jokes and not real. You also see this a lot in the dynamic between YouTube and TikTok, because there's a lot of videos on here that are just curated TikToks with the added commentary on top of it. And I am in no way exempt from this, because I've talked about a lot of TikTok trends, and it is completely possible that I've included 1 or 2 videos as examples that were satirical and just went right over my head. I probably based my arguments on it being real, so I'm very sorry for that. It will happen again, because I'm very gullible. Thankfully, most commentary videos that compile TikToks don't read into each individual one too much, so if there's a joke that slips in there, it's fine. There's a level of acceptance you need with this one because it really comes down to recognizing senses of humor or if someone's being sarcastic or not. And that one's always going to be a real coin toss because we're all different and comedy is subjective. Nice. Not every post is going to telegraph irony, and there are some people who are just not going to give the joke a chance. But at the end of the day, it doesn't even really matter because either way, the posts are getting engaged with, and that was always the goal. If you're hoping for a solution, I'm sorry, because we're always going to have some kind of bait online. It's always been there, and it likely always will be. So how do we all improve here? Because if we're going to run into bait, how are we supposed to know when it's real or not? How do we prevent ourselves from being fooled? I think the best answer is to cut yourself some slack and accept that at some point in time, you're going to get tricked. All of us are going to encounter bait. Some of us probably already have today. For myself, my purpose here is to comment on things I find online, and to me, it's preferable if those things are real. And I do try my best to spot any indicators that it might not be authentic, especially because I'm probably going to be ranting about that thing for a long time, knowing me. It's unrealistic to have a 100% success rate there, but if running into bait is a guarantee, then I can't expect myself to catch it every single time. None of us can have that 100% success rate, so if you fall for a little bit of bait, it's fine. It is what it is, and it always is. And don't forget, bait doesn't mean false. All it means is that someone is going to benefit from you engaging with it. That's not the worst thing in the world. Definitely make sure to give things a critical look before you engage with it, but as long as you are at least considering the slight potential that it could be wrong, then I think you're doing all you can do. And maybe you'll get lucky and it'll be one of those times where the bait isn't completely fabricated. Like, I'm sure there's somewhere in the world a cat named Stirfry that looks like this. I just don't have him. But I want him. And I have now baited myself into getting annoyed. Damn, baited myself. Shout out to the real Stirfry, wherever you are. Good night. Welcome to the Kuncan Aftershow. This is where I thank you for watching the video, and when I say that I genuinely appreciate you watching, because I do. That is actually a series wrap on this apartment. I am moving. A part of me is going to miss this place, but if you notice the background of my video changing every week, that's because this place is very hard to film in. And I hope that changes. But enough about me. I want to talk about the patrons who are supporting me on I'm still talking about me, but indirectly. Thank you to all of the patrons for your continued support. I am going to keep doing my best to... Wow, this is shaking. Do I not have like a good grip? Do I have arthritis? Thank you to the patrons. If you'd like to support me there, the link is in the description. But you can also support by liking the video and leaving a comment. I am shaky. I am going to get right back to work on the next video. This is a productive month. We are being productive this month. I don't make the rules, except for that one. So I'm going to be productive. I appreciate you all for your time. Please take care of yourself and take care of others. Have a good week. I love you lots. Goodbye.